Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to this live broadcast. I am Skip Lacour. I am so glad you are here. I am here to inspire you, inform you, entertain you, distract you if that's what will serve you best. I want to be the big brother, the buff dad you ever had, just a guy just like you going through this journey of life, our man-formation, you and I together. So as you come on to this live broadcast, make sure that you say hello. I always want to acknowledge you for being here. I'm so flattered that you'd even take the time to even entertain what I have to say. So this is the time to say hello. Let me acknowledge you. If you have any questions or comments, we're doing this here live. I want to, like I said, acknowledge you for being here. If I can be of service by answering any questions you might ask. If you have any requests, maybe you've been noticing these live interviews that I've been doing. I'll tell you, I've been getting a lot out of them. I hope you're just getting 1/10 out of them that I'm getting out of them. If you like it, if you want to see more things, let me know right here and now. I have a very special guest for you today, and as I bring you into my world, right, my reality of how I think this world should work, what's working for me, what's not working for me, how I can help you in any way, avoid all the mistakes, the pain that I've gone through, and maybe some of the successes that I've stumbled into. I want to invite you to the people I know, I care about, that I respect, that I admire. And my guest today is Mr. Jeff Willet, and I'm going to be bringing him in just a couple minutes here. Jeff Willet is just, IFBB professional bodybuilder. I mean, a great teacher, a great coach. But even more than that, if you've been around me long enough, I mean, he is probably one of the smartest, just the best human beings that I've known, right? And I really mean that. And I've known Jeff, about 20 years now. I want to say that I was the guy who saw his potential, picked him up, brought him up to the big leagues, where he got some big eyes and some big people supporting him. So much so, he kicked my butt in our last contest at the end of the year. So if there's anybody who I help in beating me, they got to be a great guy. So it takes a little bit of the sting off if it's a guy like Jeff Willet. So that's who my special guest is today. We've got a long history together. We have parallel universes. And heck, if you like me, then you're going to like Jeff. And through these interviews that I'm doing, because as you can tell, I'm just obsessed on helping you, and I'm obsessed with technology. And once I get going on something, I can't help but share it with you. So I'm bringing to you Jeff Willet and a lot of guys like Jeff Willet, so you can be exposed to this gentleman and all his thoughts and ideas, get inspired, get informed, entertained. So in a moment, I'm going to bring IFBB professional and a coach, Jeff Willet, onto there. So this is the time to say hello. Like I said, I want to acknowledge you for being here. Again, before we get going, I want you to make sure you set your notifications. As you can see, I'm bringing it to you, the people who can inspire you, inform you, in addition to what I have to offer. I'm coming on at random times because we have an international audience here, right? Not only different time zones, we're in different parts of the world, and I want to cater all of us, right? I also realize that the majority of people watch this in a replay version, so putting on special time may be a little counterproductive anyway. But if you want to join live, that's what the magic is. I love connecting with you guys. Make sure that you set the notifications. All right, make sure that you do that. So let's see here. Tyrexian, hello, Tyrexian. I really appreciate you being here. And your question to Glenn McIntosh yesterday was an awesome one that provided a lot of value to a lot of people, I'm sure, not just yesterday's live broadcast, for months and years to come. I appreciate you being here, Tyrexian, and I want to really do whatever I can to help you on your journey to be a strong man. So Tyrexian says, hello, Mr. Lacour. I hope you're well. I am not just well. I am awesome, Tyrexian, and I hope you are too. Let's see. Bogdan, hello from Romania. Good luck. Hello, Bogdan from Romania. I'm so glad you're here, and best of luck to you. Even better than luck, maybe I can help you out and give you some objectivity perspective, some accountability to some specific strategies. So in addition to luck, you can have some strategies that work and help you get what you really want. What do you think about that, Bogdan? So glad you are here. Hello, Anthony. Hello. What does it take to be a coach like you in and out here? It's a great question. Probably the biggest thing is a lot of passion, right? The willingness and obsession. I'm going to talk about that today, Anthony, to serve other people. And when you have those two things, when your heart is right and your mind is right, the journey might not be a direct route, but first you have this insatiable appetite to make the breakthroughs yourself to get to the next level, so you have some value to offer other people. And then, we go through our journey. But that's a good start. Specifics, maybe do a lot of things that you see me doing. Talk about a lot of things that I'm talking about. That's a good start. And then we can work from there. Great question. Thank you so much for being here, Anthony. Hello, Robert. Robert says, good afternoon, Skip. Been busy and making things happen. Thanks to you. Just checking in. Hey, thank you so much for checking in, Robert. Robert brings up something that I want to bring your attention to, because he's given me his feedback. He's one of my special group of men who are going on a journey, and it's the 15 Man-Formation Steps at 15manformationsteps.com. 15 Man-Formation Steps. It's instant access. It's immediate access. It's free access. Free is always good. And lifetime access. I'm going to take you through some modules over 18 days, step by step, take you on your Man-Formation. I'm going to take really good care of you. Again, it's free, it's instant, and it's lifetime. Hey, Robert, if you're still watching, you said you were going to check in and out, but if you're still online, why don't you let people know how an amazing journey the 15 Man-Formation Steps are, so they can go on that too. Thank you so much for being a part of this tribe, Robert. All right, guys, did I miss anything? So let's see. Yusuf, good luck to you. Where are you from, Yusuf? So glad you are here. Hello, Lada. Lada, you are our number one Man-Formation female. I'm so glad you're a part of this tribe. You've been busy. Well, I appreciate you taking some time out of your schedule to be here, even if it's for 5 minutes, 50 minutes, anything in between. Lada and everyone who's watching, if I inspire you, inform you, entertain you, distract you, if I do a good job at it, I don't care if you stay for 5 minutes, 50 minutes, or anything in between. I don't care if you watch it live or in a replay version. Anything I can do, if I do a good job, you're going to stay for 5 more minutes and 5 more minutes and 5 more minutes. Right, so I appreciate you being here. Thank you so much, Lada. Our number one female Man-Formation, all the way from Sweden. Hello, awesome folks. Thank you so much. Alejandro, hello. Hello, baby. Hello, baby to you too, sir. Maybe that's buddy. I'm not sure. And then Yusuf says, you are number one. No, you I think that's you are number one. Thank you so much. Man, this is a big world, a lot of people. I'm number one? That's quite a compliment. Thank you so much. See Jeff over here smiling at this, right? All right, guys. All right, so got a message for you before we start. A quick message, right? And then I'm going to bring on IFBB professional Jeff Willet, just an amazing guy, in addition to an amazing bodybuilder and an amazing coach. Right. I want to talk about something that I learned from last night's broadcast with motivational speaker, keynote speaker, vice president of a university. No, he's the dean. No, he was the dean. Now he's the vice president over in your part of the woods in Michigan there, Jeff, who's waiting on deck here. Right. So he's a vice president. Speaker, like I said, just an amazing guy. If you have not watched that live interview broadcast that I did yesterday, you want to make sure that you watch it. Another great quality guy. You should expect nothing less during these live broadcasts. He said something to me yesterday that really made me think all night long, and I'm gonna get Jeff's opinion of this too. So he talked about how you have to be obsessed with what you're doing, right? I got to tell you something. I get what he's saying, but I thought about my own personal experience. And I thought about my obsession with bodybuilding. I'll tell you what, 6-time national champion, drug-free bodybuilder. Many of you are even on this journey, and you've been on it for 20 years because of what I accomplished with my obsession for bodybuilding and training and helping you at the same time. But since I retired 14 years ago, I had to rethink my manformation that I want to share with you. And it's been quite a journey that I learned a lot of things I want to share with you, things that I've done well, and things that maybe I would have done a little bit differently. And it's the byproduct of my obsession. And I get that. I understand that. I mean, there's not a straight path to anything in this world. And there's always good and bad, and it's not over until you take all the pieces, whether they're good or bad, and it's the long game, right? And so I've been putting that long game together. And if you've been watching these live broadcasts, you know how consistent I am, how passionate I am, how much I think about this stuff, how much I prepare, and I deliver, all right, and all the stuff I'm posting on social media. I do that myself, so I must be working hard. Maybe you might even think that's an obsession, but I have to be honest with myself. And I said, I've been holding back from the obsession thing. Because if you're obsessed about something, you haven't really thought it out completely, it might take you to a place that you don't want to be. I'll give you an analogy. Now, this is old. It tells you some old school thinking here because now with GPS, none of us should be caught in this scenario. But, my demographic, I don't know, 35, 55, whatever that range. If you're younger guys, hopefully you're learning, from experience. I hope I'm still relatable to you, right? But in the old days when you had Thompson maps, can you believe that? You had a map to find your way. One of the challenges, if you didn't spend a lot of time reading maps, or maybe you had a little challenge with directions, I mean, you could have a need to go to an appointment, and you'd get on the freeway, right? And you'd be driving really fast, right? Really determined. And then as something comes in your mind, you start thinking, am I going the right way? Should I be? I'm going north, but I think I might should be going the opposite direction. I'm not quite sure. Every minute I drive down this freeway, I don't care how well I drive, how fast I drive, it's actually taking me a mile and a few 10 minutes the wrong way, right? And then you get caught with that uncertainty, right? Like, maybe I should slow down, I should turn around, right? And the whole journey is uncomfortable because you're not quite certain, right? If you're obsessed and you're going the wrong direction, man, you can be doing yourself a little bit more harm than good. I mean, you can always recover. Life is long. You can make your adjustments. But yesterday, what Glenn talked about being obsessed is, what I realized is that we're obsessed anyway, right? It's just that, are we consciously knowing what emotions we're pulled to and what we're really filtering all our time, energy, and action? Most of us don't really know what that is, but we're obsessed anyway. The key is to hold back on the obsession just in case you're going the wrong way. The real thing is to really be clear about why you're doing the things that you're doing. And Glenn's comments about being obsessed, I want to be obsessed. I've been obsessed many times in a few different areas, and that's how I achieve higher and higher levels. I thought about it is, I'm going to give myself the freedom to be even more obsessed. So if you think what I've been doing is committed, you ain't seen nothing yet. I'm going to unleash the hounds. I'm going to let my obsession through. And that's why I'm with you as much as I need to be, right? Whatever. You think I was obsessed before, you ain't seen nothing yet, right? So that's my mission, my message today, because it's part of my mission. My mission is to get you out of pain. And I realize, what my obsession is I don't want anybody to go through my route. I mean, I know there's some things that you admire. I'm telling you, if there's one thing, I want to prevent my wife from pain, my kids from pain, you from pain. That's what I'm obsessed with. And as long as I have that in my heart, I'm going to assume the best is going to come out. It may not get there, but I realize whether I held back or not, That's what I'm doing anyway. Those are all the thoughts that go through my head. If you've listened to these live broadcasts, one thing that I say is we could say we want the money and the cars and the body and the abs and what we could say that all day long, but if you're not getting it, it's usually because there's something else, a different bullseye, an emotional bullseye that you're going towards, or really what you're staying after, right? And as long as you can understand that about yourself, it's okay to be obsessed. It's okay to be obsessed. I think that Glenn's message yesterday, and again, you want to listen to that live broadcast with Glenn McIntosh, it just made me realize a lot of things. It was kind of really freeing. I'm always learning. I hope you are too, and I hope you got a lot out of that broadcast. So let me just check in one more time. I'm going to check in, and then I'm going to bring in our special guest, IFBB professional bodybuilder Jeff Willet. All right, so Robert says, let's see, by the horns and pursue what drives you. This journey has helped me realize what needs my attention, how to reach my goals, and put the time and effort into what needs to be. And I'm making sure I'm as sharp as a tack. And that's a great lesson from the great Jordan Belfort that I shared in the 15-man formation steps. You want to make sure you go to their 5-man formation steps. And that's what Robert is talking about there. And so I guess the first part, Skip, excuse my delay, my journey, to be short to the point, has been to grab the Jill. Am I reading that right, Robert? All right. Hello, Asin. Thank you so much for being here. Hello, hello, hello. All right. So, all right. Without further ado, I'm going to bring in my special guest, Mr. Jeff Willet, IFBB professional bodybuilder. What'd you think about that? You got a lot to live up to during this live broadcast, don't you, Jeff?
Yes, so. Hey, thanks for having me. It was thanks for the great introduction.
Well, it's right from the heart, and it's what I know about you. I know to be certain that I'm certain about. So, why don't we start off? Why don't we talk about where you are now, Jeff? What you're doing with your life? Let's just talk about professional. Let's just survey guys first. Let's put them first. What can you do for them in their lives? Add some quality, right? Then talk about where you are with your life right now. And then we'll, get into our story, our history, what led us to this point in our lives.
Great. Sounds good. Yeah. Well, currently my focus is on serving and helping people through my premium website, jeffwilletpremium.com. And on there, I wanted to have one spot where I could deliver my entire system, which is, the training system, workout, the cardio, nutrition, and mindset, all in one spot that includes, videos and one-on-one coaching if you want it, nutrition plan downloads, workout plan downloads. So really nuts and bolts of my system that I've been crafting for over, 20 plus years now. So I wanted to put the premium site together as well, one-stop spot where people could come and, gain the information, but also interact on a message board and just be very, because there's so much information out there. So this way, people who seek out the system that I have, it's one spot where everything is consistent to help them achieve and maximize their results.
Yeah, awesome. So tell me, who, Jeff, would love this information? Is it catered to a certain group of men? Who is this for? You're a IFBB professional bodybuilder. Is it for those? I mean, tell me about it.
Well, here's what really kind of excites me. My specialty is really, I focus on body composition change. And it's really for people who are looking for the first time to get a system that they can fully execute to achieve maximum results for a body composition change, losing fat, building muscle. And some of you out there may have known or may be familiar with the documentary I was a part of, I Want to Look Like That Guy, where I helped transform Stuart McDonald, average, quote average guy who was out of shape, and, use my system to get in fantastic shape and compete. But the competitor, even though I can absolutely help men and women get ready for the stage, no question, but my thing that I really enjoy is just helping people for the first time have a system they can simply execute and achieve better results than maybe they have before. The stage is fine, but I love really seeing people, like I said, that just want to feel better, look better, and have something that they can maintain. So we can take it to the extremes, no question. But it really, I have a lot of people who, a variety of ages and men and women who, like I said, all the information out there, things just weren't getting them where they want to get. They come to me and I can give them an easy ABC type thing to simply execute, put their emphasis on execution rather than searching and finding out what they need to do. I tell you what to do. I teach you how to fish, and you do the A, B's, and C's and get that body composition change that maybe eluded you for a long, long time.
Yeah, no, that's a great service. Now, I posted down below JeffWilletPremium.com. You guys can click that link. Got a email list, a newsletter that goes with that, Jeff, when they go to Jeff Willet Premium.
Yeah. So yeah, they can get on there and sign up for that exactly. And then you can also click on like there's a video link. You can click on the videos and success stories, and you can see the whole video library. And then you can look at the success stories and see some of the things that people have achieved executing the system.
Awesome, awesome, guys. So grab that link once you open up in another browser, and then bookmark it right now while you're thinking about it. And then when we're done talking to Jeff, you can go right up there, watch those videos, and sign up for his newsletter. That's awesome. So it's been now 14 years since you retired from competitive bodybuilding. Tell us where you are with your life now, and how's that different when you were the focused, obsessed bodybuilder. Where are you now with your life, Jeff?
It's an interesting story, and you're right. It's about 14 years, and you were there with me in Lower Manhattan that night. And after that, it was kind of like I had that kind of like, okay, now what moment? Like after I achieved that and you know, took my pro card, it was like, okay, now what do I do? And, you know, ultimately I'm going to condense this, but I moved back. I was in Colorado at the time. Many of you may know the story, may not. I moved back to Michigan. I opened up a Powerhouse Gym, which I ran for 11 years, and was doing the DVDs and instructional material. With that, I had to close my gym about it was a little over a year ago. So I closed the gym due to market changes and a variety of things. That's probably a whole separate show could be done on that. And then now I'm focused on my online stuff where I can really reach a wider audience. But I'm also a father. My son just turned 2, and so my wife and son are doing great. In fact, my wife works full-time in the afternoons, and so I'm very much a stay-at-home dad, and I do my online stuff around my time with my son, so I'm hugely involved with him, and that is the most rewarding thing I'm doing right now.
So I tell you, it must have been an entirely different life. I mean, you accomplished some great things in your bodybuilding career, and we'll get to that. But the focus and the dedication, I mean, could you have done that? I'm curious. We don't know this for sure, but it would have been a different world if you had a wife and kid at the time. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I don't think I could have done it well because, you know, I'm always pretty honest about it. I look back on it, and I think during that time I wouldn't classify myself as probably the best friend to people and probably the best person in that sense because I was. Even though it was very self-absorbed in that sense because you kind of have to be. It's your next meal or your next workout, your next whatever. And no matter how generous you are or think you are, you're putting that ahead of everything. And to be at that elite level that you and I achieved, I believe, especially drug-free, you have to be like that. So, no, I don't think I would have been a very good husband and not a very good father. I'm speaking strictly for me. I don't think it would have worked well with the way my mind worked back then. I don't think it would have worked very well.
Well, I totally, I agree with you. You know, I'm sure that there's some debate about what it takes to look a certain way. And there wasn't a lot of people who looked the way that you looked, right? But they're not even close to the way that you looked. Yet they may have some theories. It wouldn't take all of what you just said, Jeff, right? So it's like, it's theory. I mean, you know, who knows? You almost have to live 2 lifetimes to do all that. Like I said, I just want everybody to be happy, whatever that takes.
Well,
and sometimes
I agree. I hear you.
Also doesn't even matter, right?
Right. And I always think it's important to just reiterate, you know, I can only give it from my perspective, and I understand that everyone has looking at it from their own way. So I'm just giving things honestly from my perspective, but I don't begin to believe that that's, you know, the only that's not everybody's truth. It might be my truth because that's the prism that I'm looking from, but I do understand. So yeah, I'm just giving it from where I stand.
Yeah, and that's an interesting a point of view. The challenge sometimes is when you're helping people, and I find this to be true. It's probably true in a lot of different areas, but you have mastery in the bodybuilding training lifestyle, and coaching people who want to emulate what you've done, and they want black and white answers, like just tell me the way to do it, right? And sometimes that's a challenge because if you don't give them that sense of certainty and black and whiteness, they can't get going. Yet when you give them the black and white answer of this is the way to do it, now especially there's so much information, there's somebody who's going to be persuasive or convincing that's going to challenge what they were so certain about before. Now they're back to square one. What advice can you give? Let's talk to someone who really wants to do this. They're really committed. It's just that the information overload that you talked about, so much information. I think the sense of certainty to keep on going is something that's so important. Instant approach. It's a perspective as you go forward and you assimilate this information, right? So speak on that. What advice can you give someone? Maybe they're 6 months in, they want to give it their all, they want to leave it all on the floor. The only challenge is that they don't know what to leave on the floor, what to do, right?
Right. Well, I agree. The sense of certainty is huge, and I got that first, rewinding back in time, really from you in my career, and understanding how to, piece some things together strategically from the system standpoint. So from the nuts and bolts of training, I think it's pretty simple, personally. And I have a system that I believe in that has been crafted like over 20-something years, and to me, it's like that system of, as far as sets and reps and exercise selection and execution and nutritional timing and all that, to me, that is a black and white thing. I look at it like this. I think in fitness, I think there isn't so much things are right or wrong, but I do think there's a slide of more or less effective depending upon what your goals are. There's 1,000 ways to train, and depending upon what your goals are, you can get certain degrees of results from it. But from a body composition standpoint, I believe what I teach is up there like a 10 out of 10. And I think if someone's interested in maximizing the body composition change, I think you follow that A, B, and C. And to me, that part is very black and white. At least that's how I teach it. And I think if you're coming to me, I think that's the value that I can add. I did well with that. Not everybody does. I did well having a black and white thing.
Right.
Through you and through Paul and through having an ABC. Personally, I do good in life when I have something I can put my head down and execute. And that's what I try to provide for my people.
That sense of certainty. And you talked about Max OT, and I respect the fact, that's what you're all about, a very successful system. I'll be forever tied to Max OT training because of all the passion of the time that I put, and I proudly accept that, right? What I found the challenge to be, and maybe talk to specifically to your tribe, right? This is what I found. I believe in the effectiveness, right? It's the interpretation. And I don't know about you over the years, Jeff. I found a lot of people who believed in the system. They had that sense of certainty. And then with the emergence of the internet, and I was always creative, I did things like, hey, it seems so simple. Now here we are. I just talked to you over the last day. Boom, here we are, all around the world, right? It wasn't so simple years ago, but what I would do is the primitive cell phones, I would have them take a picture of a set or two of any exercise, right? And one thing that I noticed is that their interpretation of what was being said, that's where there was the gap. So although they felt certain, and I would just say, you know what, I want you to just put 33% more weight, something that they felt in their belief system was just outrageous, and then they could immediately do it. So there was a gap in interpretation, not necessarily the system, right? I'm curious if you found that to be true, and then how you coach guys to bridge that gap so they have that certainty, yet effectiveness that you have at the same time. So I guess, number one, tell me, have you noticed what I've noticed? And then how do you help those who execute Max OT break through so they really get
I have in certain things, and I think that sometimes when you've done something as long as you or I have with this, there's certain things that, you know it like the back of your hand, so you just assume that it's going to be interpreted the way that you mean it. But I have had that as far as with people misinterpreting maybe the weight selection or when to increase weight or how many sets to do at a certain thing. So then when that comes across, certainly adjust it. But what I'll say in addition to that, I find the thing that I have more time doing with people than that is keeping them from overcomplicating it, keeping them from splitting hairs, and it's like, well, or obsessing over more minute details rather than focusing on just the intensity and the bigger picture stuff. So I find that, I think, more times than
right. I think you're right. That is definitely true. And I agree with you that if there's one misconception, that one that you just mentioned, overcomplicating something simple and effective, is probably by far number one. Not to say that the challenge that I talked about isn't there, but you're right. I believe that's number one, which kind of goes into a certain point. Is so, how old are you now, Jeff?
43.
What was it? 43, right? Okay. So,
43,
you probably get this a lot. You help out so many people. What guys hit 30 years old? Oh my God, here we go. The hormones are all gone. It's ready to kick the bucket, right? Right. Okay. So maybe address that. But what I really want you to address is when you go into the lower rep range. I mean, if you don't put enough intensity and you don't have all the pieces together with intensity, the right weight selection, and then also the form, feel, and execution with it without overcomplicating it. If you don't have all those factors together, you're just doing low reps, right? You're not going to get the intensity of it. And one misconception is, that's hard on the joints. My joints can't take it. And look, nobody told you how much weight to put on it, right? It doesn't, you're putting too much weight on yourself. You're beating yourself up, man. You got a long life to live, right? So tell me how your body's holding up. And, I want to talk about that because I deal with guys, like I said, 35 to 55, and I'm trying to teach longevity, right, with your life here, right? So I know I opened up a couple things. Have at it, Jeff.
Yeah. A lot to unpack there, but let's see if I can start it like this. So for me personally, so first of all, I get that too about how, well, I did a recent thing on my YouTube channel. I did some tips and some guy commented right away, well, say goodbye to your joints if you're going to do max OT, and I don't think so. I think that bodybuilding mythology that gets spread around, because the idea, if you're doing it right over a long period of time, you're always progressing by the smallest increment. You're only using weights that you can handle with good control and all this and that, and you're moving, incrementally over time. So the joints, connective tissues are also growing at the same, or getting stronger. So I don't really buy that. But what I will say is, because again, we're not talking about, you don't go in there one day and then just put as much as on you can do with crappy form and that sort of thing. So there's that side. But for me personally, 43, but I started at 16, and through 13, it was really a 13-year span to get my pro card. And certainly I would say the intensity was ratcheted up the last probably 6-7 years of that. And now where I find myself is, I don't know how nitty gritty you want me to get into, but I do have some issues now training heavy. But I think for myself, it's because of the extreme that I was at for so many years, and extreme low levels of body fat and doing just crazy things. I look back at those videos now and I can't shake my head. I look at the amount of weight, and I was like a few weeks up from a contest, and I'm just like, how did things not just snap, but in any event, so I'm very conservative now personally, because I don't want to, my goal is not to build maximum muscle. My goal is just to be healthy and feel good, and and delay the atrophy process. That's really my only goal. So I still follow the max OT principles, but I ratchet the intensity down. So I use a weight that I can get about 6 times pretty easily with. I'm not trying, and I find that helps me, maintain a certain amount of muscle, feel good, but I'm not trying to set any records based off of the end of what I've done. However, I will say, I don't think that's as relevant to my age as much as it is to my history and what I've done. I think if someone's starting later in life, I think if they smartly progress over time, I see no reason that if someone's really trying to go for it, they can't. And I had people in my gym that I work with that were 50 plus years old and were really doing max OT all out, 4 reps max, and they had no problem with it. So I think there's a facet to that question, much like anything else. But me personally, my intensity is ratcheted way down. My workouts are nothing to look at now. like they were back then.
Right,
When you
right.
came out, we did some crazy stuff.
Yeah. That's a great story. Yeah. Why don't you go ahead and tell them about that?
Well, I believe it was
Well,
2002.
entertain them with two big ripped men acting like little babies, right, Jeff?
Well, we were supposed to film multiple exercises over like I don't even, was it a whole week or was it just a period of a few days? There might have been
It was a few days, right?
Yeah. And hours on end, right? Just in there
Right.
filming different exercises. And, yeah.
Yeah, so what we were at the AST Sports facility, and this again, guys, things weren't as easy as they were now. Like here I'm talking to you on a 4K camera from my home office, just flipping off. Technology is amazing, but at that time, Paul, Delia from AST Sports Science, Jeff, and myself, we were our passion made us somewhat pioneers at the time, right? There was no YouTube at the time. Can you believe that, right? But we had the vision, well, we got to get this out visually, right? So this was just a couple weeks before one of the contests. I think it was that the contest that you did extremely well, the USA, or was it that a year before or whatever?
It was the year before. That was 2002.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, but we were just, down to the end, and we had a long contest preparation. By regular people's standards at that time, we were contest shape back at that standard, right? And it was 2 weeks. So you're depleted, you're hungry, you're tired. And so we were training and in this beautiful facility with the weights, and they were filming, right? And at that time, remember, it wasn't VHS tape. It was those little DVD tapes, because that was the cutting edge technology. So it had these $3,500 Sony cameras to follow us around and train. And so we were training because we had to do an assortment of different exercises. Also, we were required, or the thing was to present to you in the camera like this fluently while we're hungry, while we're starving, while we're lifting this massive weight 2 weeks before a contest, right? So it was a little bit of high expectations, right? So I guess we were training with, pre-contest weights, and Paul came in there and said, that's not going to do anything, right? You guys have these baby weights. You got to use real weight. We're going, okay. So it's like every single body part in 2 or 3 days, and lift as heavy as hell. We were, and no calories, no food. I mean, we were this close. Crying. Maybe I saw a little tear with you, Jeff. I'm not quite sure. No, I'm kidding, right?
It was tough.
It was like,
it was challenging. But but if I may for a second, that's the part of it that people don't understand, and I didn't coming up in the ranks. Like, you see the photo shoots, you see the great pictures, you see the great videos, and you don't realize how crappy the people feel, doing it. Or at least, again, I'm speaking for myself. Maybe some people feel great, but I didn't. And so it's very, very different on the other side of the lens. Very different, but a fun memory nonetheless.
And when you talk about the standards, that we performed at that time, too, and also, people can say whatever they want, like, it's not that hard, or whatever they say, but I'll tell you, I mean, you got to suffer, right? What I found, my 33 years in personal development, what I found is that sometimes you don't want anything else in life. Your life sucks, or you don't care. You don't care about making money. You don't care about relationships. You don't care about anything else. So if you only want 2 things, to win a trophy and be shredded, right? If your life is that simple, then you don't feel like you're missing out on anything, right? But, food is a drug. It really, it's your energy level. It's your moods. I mean, hell, we had a very long contest preparation season. We were basically how sometimes you're grumpy when you eat a couple hours, you had to postpone a meal for a couple hours. We lived in that state for 6 months a year for years, right? It's a good thing we didn't other people, because we would have just bit their heads off anyway, right?
No question. I remember, and I lived there at the time, because I lived there for 4 years, and you came out, and I remember we drove to the gas station to buy more gum. Because gum is one of the few things that, would keep sanity and keep you from, killing somebody else. So yeah,
Yeah,
oh, those were the
you
days.
get some resistance from the young guy. It doesn't take all that. And then it's like, okay, well, let's see you do it, right? Because if you don't actually do it, and then that's when, the reason why you did it is, if they're nice, they'll say it's because you have superior genetics, but most people aren't nice. It's just, it's because you're using drugs. That's why you look that way, right? So whatever it is, who cares, right? If you can be as shredded and huge and win contests and just have a picnic and talk to your kids and read to them at night, and when they're really hurting, really connect and be present and make love to your wife and really connect to her and say hello to everybody else and make a tons of money for your financial future. Hey, God bless you. Tell me where your YouTube channel is, because I want to watch that, right? Because you're an amazing individual, right? But hey, if you can do it in real life and not just in theory, without Skip and Jeff really are on drugs, right? So you can't lower the standard. I want you to meet that standard. I want to see your $1 million. I want to see your loving family, your smart kids, and all this, and all that too. You can't eliminate any of those things, right? Then, hey, God bless you. God bless you. I wish you were around for me to learn from back then, because man, I made life very difficult on myself, and it took a while after retired even to make the comeback. Am I right, Jeff?
Hey, there's no doubt about it. And I still, there's still things I work through mentally, psychologically, from those days.
Sure.
But
yeah, let's before we talk about things like that. What I want to, first of all, Jeff, we have Barry Gilbert Purse says, "Hey, Jeff."
Barry.
All right.
Barry's my buddy. Barry was a member at the gym there.
Yeah. All right. So James Baum says, "Jeff and Skip." Hello, James. Good to have you here. Now, let's go ahead and, Tyrexian is really passionate here. So I'm going to have you answer this question, Jeff, right? This is a complicated question from Tyrexian, right? So this is what he says. You can probably tell that I'm full of questions by now, I forgot to ask this yesterday, but I figured it's best to ask the best question last. Maybe I can get both points of advice. I find a lot of the time I have a silent, aggressive personality. To a lot of people where I live, it is overpoweringly intimidating, or so I've been told. Anyways, my question for both of you is silent aggression. Good? Should I use it to push myself when training in the gym? All right. Did you get that question, Jeff? And do you want to
silent aggression. Silent aggression. I don't know that I've heard it put quite like that before, but I guess, boy, with anything, there are good and bad sides to it. And if you can utilize something like that to motivate or drive yourself for steps of being better at something, then good. To the point where it starts to deteriorate relationships or something like that, then that's bad. So if you can use that, they say harness your power for good, not evil, then great. So, understand what your goal is, whatever it is, connect to that, and then use that drive to get better at that. But also remember, I think, why you are doing what you're doing, and then not to let that spill over to the people in your life. They have nothing to do with that. So focus that on the task, I would say, and use it for good.
Yeah, great answer. I hope that's helpful, Tyrexian. So I'm going to give you some advice that's probably really consistent with some advice I gave you yesterday. All right. Let me just tell you something. Whether you're asking me, Jeff, we have this story of how life should be lived. Right? And Jeff could give you his story. I could give you my story. Our stories might be different than each other. Who knows, right? Because if it's 10% difference, that can make a big difference. Our story of what's even happening, of you have a story of how other people are, how they're reacting to you. You have even a reason why. I am not one to say if you're right or wrong. Jeff couldn't tell you if right or wrong, but that's the story you're playing in your head. I have a feeling they have a different story playing in their head of what's going on, right? The thing is, all 4 groups or 10 groups all can be wrong, right? You got to do the best you can to make yourself happy, right? And you got to be forgiving. Use your best judgment to be self-aware why you're doing the things that you're doing, Jeff said, and take action, right? You know what? Let's just throw this out there. I don't know, Tyrex, and maybe this silent aggression, and it's overpoweringly intimidating. Let's just say, I don't know, maybe you're just a jerk, okay, right? And you're going to regret this behavior later, right? Who cares? You didn't do that in your heart right now. You needed this to move forward. And life is long, and you can make adjustments along the way. If you put the pressure on yourself to make everybody happy and yourself with a perfect straight shot, you're never going to take any action. You got to be forgiving for other people for the way they're coming across to you. If it's hurting you, you got to be forgiving to yourself if you hurt other people, as long as you're in a good heart. I can tell you this, Tyrexian, and it somewhat ties in with your question, is that, when I was silently aggressive and overpoweringly intimidated, or whatever somebody's impression of what was happening, I don't have quite the same story now, yet it served me well. And like Jeff said, it held me back in a lot of ways. And then I edged my way, doing the best I can with the best intentions. And, life is, you'll eventually figure it out if you're persistent enough, right? I'm not going to beat myself up if I had the best intentions. I just changed my story. But really, my empathy and understanding for other people is probably a lot like Jeff's. He said he was very, quote unquote, selfish, whatever the hell that means. There's a lot of people on the internet who are these word Nazis, right? They just change what words mean to fit their story, right? What is selfish? You got to be selfish, whatever, we all have to make adjustments along the way. There's just no way my priority with parenting and what I feel my responsibility to be a mate is right now, something would have gone, and so although, I did what I had to do at this stage of life, it isn't what I would do again. But I'm not at that stage anymore. I'm evolving, right? Now I'm tasting this side of life. So I hope that's helpful. I hope that sometimes the internet's going to give you black and white answers. Those people are bad. So just keep on doing what you're doing. You might take from them that what you're doing is bad and selfish, so stop it, black and white. The world is not black and white. And when you can be mentally, emotionally flexible and work in the gray, life will become a lot easier. But you have to be empathetic and understanding of other people's story as well as yourself. You can't just dig in deep because, I've got a lot of people who disagree with what I have to say, and I could care less. And I don't mean like I don't care about their opinion. It's just that I say, well, you know what? They could be right. I don't see them as right, but they could be right, or I could be right. But you know what? I'm not going to stop what I'm doing and try theirs out until mine doesn't work. And we'll see. I'm not so attached emotionally either way. I just want the results. I want to be happy. I want to reach my goal. If it's their way, my way, I don't care, right? Anyway, I hope that's helpful. Anything to add to that, Jeff? With your wisdom?
No, I can't. That's great.
Yeah.
No, I think that's we'll leave it at that.
Yeah. So let's see here. Let's see if there's anybody else. Like I said, I'm going to post Jeff Willet Premium.com. I have it on the screen there. Go ahead and make sure that you bookmark the website, that you sign up for Jeff's his newsletter, so you stay in contact with him, and also watch all the videos when we're done here. All right. Let's see. I want to always make sure I acknowledge you, so I want to make sure I don't miss any of your comments. We're doing this live, right? So I want to interact with you guys here. Let's see. All right. If I do happen to miss anybody here, I want to apologize in advance. I'll get to you afterwards. All right, Jeff. All right, so let's see. I want to provide value to our guys, right? Your wisdom going through the journey. Tell me what the best thing about your bodybuilding journey, as you look back, the biggest thing you learned about yourself that's serving you well now. What would that be?
Yeah, I think it's the the ability to, the mindset, the focus, the working to the mental side of things to achieve a goal or a very daunting task, because you really, I think statistically, we probably shouldn't have been able to do what we did, but yet somehow we did it anyway. Only part of that was physical ability, but what really made the difference the last couple of years for me when I went to have my best years was really, you know, between the years. And so I worked to develop that. So the ability to, you know, chunk things down into smaller bite-sized pieces, the understanding of stringing great days of excellence together, the understanding of not striving for perfection, but striving for excellence. And the idea that greatness isn't any one big thing you do, but really it's the culmination of many good things done over a long, long period of time, and looking at the trend of activity over time. I used to have this idea they had to do everything perfect and, you know, just so rigid. And I still was obviously very rigid at the end, but I was better to understand that, look, I need to string together great days of excellence. These days are opportunities to get better and so on. And that really translates, I think, to almost anything in life, any goal, any desire. I just happen to pour all of it into making my physique a certain way. But now I actually also work to help people use those techniques in business or in other things that have nothing to do with fitness. So I think that was the biggest thing, and cementing the idea that, hey, I can achieve great things with the right amount of smart plan and execution. So I think that's really my big takeaway.
Awesome. So, you know, as you look back, and if you could have done it all over again, and obviously results speak for themselves and the results that you got, but if you could have even have done it better with the wisdom that you have, the overview, give me one strategy that you would say to the guys who want to emulate what you've done. And you say, you know what, I'm going to tell you everything that worked well, and I'm going to teach you how to do it even better than me. Make sure you do what? What would that answer be?
Well, make sure that two things. One, and I did this better later in my years, like the process, look at days like opportunities. And I think that when I did that later, I enjoyed it more, even though it was still, I mean, enjoy, you know, maybe is a weird word, but earlier in my career, I'm just kind of getting through it. Like, okay, I got 6 months and 4 months and then however many weeks. And it's kind of like just getting through it in a way. And when with that type of attitude, then I would get to a contest. I wouldn't even really enjoy the experience as much because of this way I created it in my mind. And one of my biggest regrets was when I did go to the World Championships. I mean, I didn't even enjoy really any of that experience because of where I was in my mind. Whereas in the last year particularly, I really took in the experience more. I understood when I got to the contest that my work was done, and I'll just enjoy the whole experience, and I was better to be around and all that because I looked at it more like opportunity and, hey, I'm choosing to do this. And when I was younger, I didn't really look at it as much as like that. And again, so I mean, there's that side of it. But I would also say to some young upstarts who want to emulate my career, but also have an idea what your end game is. Like, what are you looking to kind of get out of this? Like, I never really looked at that. I just wanted to be a pro, and I wanted to be the greatest bodybuilder, and I never paid really an ounce of thought to, well, what happens the day I don't want to do this anymore? What happens when I do turn pro? I wouldn't even let my mind think about that because it would have hurt me as a competitor because you had to be so laser focused. And so I didn't let my mind go there. But the problem is then when that day was done in New York City that night, when my hands were raised, I remember there was like this feeling like, seriously, it was like, okay, well, now what? But that's because I never thought about it, you know? So I have an idea, like, what's your end game with all this?
Yeah, you know what's
a really young guy.
Yeah, no, I was just going to add what's interesting is the year before, it was 4 years before, Glenn McIntosh, who I had on yesterday, he said I said that same thing, celebrating my overall victory. So that was 5 years before in 1998. I don't remember this, but he said that exact thing. I said, all right, now what's next? Where are we going here is what I was saying too. So that's interesting. You said that too. And so go ahead. I apologize for cutting you off there.
No, that's okay. And I was just going to say, like, I started so young, so I had this romanticized image of bodybuilding from the magazines and this whole romanticized idea of what that whole lifestyle would be. But it's very different than what, I thought as such a young man. So, but I had everything poured into it, and I just never really thought about it, because you figure, I'm making decisions as a 16-year-old that are affected me as a 29-year-old and now a 43-year-old, decisions based off of a romanticized idea of what I thought it would be. And then it really wasn't like that, but then, you're in it. So I guess I would say, have an idea of what your end game is, what you're looking to get out of it, and what you want to get out of your life, and what you want to provide to others with your life. And if it fits with all that, then hey, go for it. But if it doesn't, maybe just work out for your health, and maybe not that. So again, only the individual knows what's right. But right. Certainly I would consider that.
Yeah, I'm going to put you on the spot. All right, so you got to be creative, but who knows, maybe you've thought about this too. So you've learned so many lessons about doing it right, maybe not quite so right. You learn a lot from pushing yourself so hard, going for your goals, achieving your goals. And so now you have your son. So tell us about your son. Let's see, so he's 2 years old now, a little bit older than 2. One thing that I do with my guys, right? I don't all the information that comes out of my heart, my mind, my mouth, whatever, it passes through the filter of what would I tell my son Jace, right? If I will, everything that I say, if I wouldn't tell my son Jace, I expect him to be watching this 20 years from now, whatever form, if this is on some archaic hard drive somewhere, right? Every word that comes out of my mouth is what I would tell my son. From your journey, all your failures, all your successes, and everything between, give me your 3 top life lessons that bodybuilding taught you that your son, and pardon me, your son's name?
Calvin.
Calvin, right. Calvin has great calves too, by the way. He's got those Jeff Willet, a picture of them. They just stick out. This guy's going to be a freak, right? Okay. So tell me on the spot the top 3 life lessons that you learned from your journey that you'll make sure that you instill in Calvin.
Disciplined action toward, what the goal is, I would say. Conviction on how you want to get there. Meaning, like, I had certain things I was not willing to do to achieve that goal. So I have conviction about what you're willing to do to get that. So you got discipline, you got conviction, and and then I guess the third one is learn from people who have gone where you want to go. Don't think you know everything, because I always in my career, and even still, I go to people who are better than me at what I want to do, and I want to learn from them. So you'll be disciplined, have convictions, and be willing to learn from other people who have achieved what you want. And I think those are 3 big ones.
Awesome. And, I was feeling your heart there, Jeff, right? I talk to people, I connect to men all over the world. That's what I do, right? But one of the life lessons is to, move into a direction like you were doing, but really enjoy the journey along the way, right? Because every journey is it's going to take sacrifice. It's going to be challenging. And if you ask yourself to see, the beauty and everything, and to enjoy it along the way, rather than waiting to the end until you achieve it. Sounds like you're going to suffer, you're going to sacrifice, you're going to allow yourself to be miserable because your belief is that that's what it takes, and it's all going to be paid back times 10 when you reach the goal. Am I right? And what I heard from you is that's not necessarily true.
Yeah, no, that's true. No, absolutely. Yeah, no, that's a good point. No, I think that's absolutely true. And creating pain just out of the idea that somehow that makes you more of a somehow better at, don't create it if it doesn't have to be there.
Yeah.
I mean, it doesn't make you any less of in this scenario, it doesn't make you any less of a competitor. And I had to learn that too. It's okay to, not make things harder on yourself.
Right. Yeah. That's an interesting thing. I mean, I really believe that part of the allure for many of us when it comes to bodybuilding training, it's its superstructure, right? In a world that makes no sense, that we may not be able to trust people we can't quite figure out. We have the structure of bodybuilding and training and eating and all of that, right? structure is calming. Structure makes you feel in control. So if pain is a part of it, you get control along with that pain. So it's just, my interpretation of what goes on. It's not that we want to feel pain. It's just that pain is a byproduct of that control that we really want, that it gives us. So the more pain, the more control we feel. You know what I'm saying? And, again, I've got a lot of theories. I'll tell you, it's on pause right now, but and you and I, we've talked many times, off the mini podcasts that we've done about life, about how to put this all together in a way that serves you. And I do have this mission with all the lessons that I've learned in my 27-year journey that stacked on 33 years of personal development. And all the people we've worked through with who wanted to emulate what we've done, that we've helped guide. I believe that I have the solutions to create a path when bodybuilding is done or superstructure is done, and it gives you what you want, and it leaves you, just short, whether a lot short from the feelings and emotions you really want in life or a lot short. I've created a template for now we're human beings. Our identity isn't bodybuilder or lifters anymore. To give a structured step-by-step system that you can feel in control and work towards it, but the reward is so much more rewarding than a contest. I mean, just think about if you work towards something in your life and you were blocked in with this artificial date like a contest, but it was 100 times more rewarding to all areas of your life. Wouldn't that be an amazing journey? I think that most of us who really love the fitness for whatever reasons, if we could get more out of it, man, wouldn't life be amazing, Jeff, if you worked so hard, you went through that journey, it was so engaging, you're so passionate about it, but you got 100 times the reward in all areas of your life than just what you got, that trophy and whatever fame. Wouldn't that be an amazing journey? Yeah.
No doubt.
Yeah. All right. So tell us again how we can get a hold of you and get in contact with you and talk to you about Jeff Willet Premium and what it takes to get in there and what kind of coaching we're going to get and anything else you want to talk about, Jeff.
Exactly. Well, I got all my social media. You can follow me there from Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and all that. You can find through the links that, Skip's providing obviously from Facebook. But JeffWilletPremium.com is where I put my work right now. So those are people who enjoy my materials. It's a subscription base. I got a couple different plans. The all access, you sign up, you get instant access to hours and hours of video footage. I got lost video footage from the days when we talked about back in 2003, some great workout footage that I look at, like I said, now, and I just shake my head. But anyway, it's there.
I sent those to you in the DV form, right?
Yeah, I have that. And, then there's all kinds of tips. I want to look like that guy, the sequel with Stuart. So then That Guy Weekly, 57 episodes of that goes up weekly. So there's just a ton of stuff on there. So check it out. That's a nuts and bolts website. It's a how-to. It's an emotional support. It's mental support, the whole thing. And if you want one-on-one coaching, you don't have to be a premium site member. But if you are, we have premium site rates. But one-on-one coaching, I'm a nuts and bolts guy. I set up the rep at ABC, put the plan in front of you, teach you how to fish, again, for a body composition change, whether it's for the stage or whether you just want to look great for first time in your life, really get a great system. So that's really what I'm there for on the coaching side of it. So that you can reach me at any of those spots, but JeffWilletPremium.com is where my really emphasis and work is now, and tons of material. I wanted a spot where I could just kind of like load all my information and years of knowledge, and it's ever expanding. But when you sign up, you get access to all that. So check that out. You can get a hold of me there, or you can email me, Jeff@JeffWillet.com, but you can also get me through the website too, not to bombard you with all kinds of
stuff. Well, I'm going to link this. This is going to go on Facebook. I'll put all your information so you can just click a link to get there. I'll also, this will be on YouTube too, and LinkedIn links and Twitter and everything like that. So,
we'll handle all that, but
yeah, if they're committed, I'll make it easy for them to get a hold of you. Well, thank you so much, Jeff, for sharing a part of your day with us. I'm going to have you back. Like you see, if you've noticed, I'm like addicted to bringing this type of information, inspiration, entertainment, distraction, whatever it is. And I got to fill up this time. And my obsession, right, I'm going to run out of people, so I'll probably have you back maybe once a month. Are you willing to do that, Jeff?
No, I would love to. And, you and I have a special relationship. At least I feel that way. I mean, and it went from looking up to you to competing with and against you to now just going through life as in fatherhood and the next stage of life. And we've had, even though we're a little bit different in age, but parallel in a sense with our careers and now even where we are now. So, absolutely would enjoy it. And again, I am very grateful for our relationship, both from before, during, and then where we are now.
Well, I appreciate that. The good thing about whatever, and again, as you guys, what people know about me is when you become one of my guys, I do whatever I can to help you out. I want to see you succeed and win. The good thing about it is when, I find out how to tweak a sodium loading depleting process, or vegetables are the key, right? You can't beat me on stage now in life, right? So like you did in 2003. But like I said, man, if I'm going to get beat by somebody, I want to know I helped them beat me, and it's a great guy like you, Jeff, right? So I am here to help you in any way I can. That's what I just do for all of my guys. And I hope if you're one of my guys who are watching these live broadcasts, this is the quality of people I want to bring into your life too. So we're all in the same tribe. So thank you so much, Jeff. I'm going to say goodbye to the tribe here, and we're going to have you back again. All right, sir?
Sounds great. Thank you.
Thank you so much. All right, guys, that's Jeff Willet, IFBB professional bodybuilder, just a great human being. JeffWilletPremium.com. You want to make sure, right when I log off, that you make sure you connect with Jeff, get on his newsletter. Stay on his newsletter, too. Even if you don't open up his emails, don't opt out. Because, they say when the student's ready, the teacher arrives. You don't want to have opt out and say, I never read this, right? Nobody reads their emails. But who knows? 2 months down the line, 3 months down the line, right when you need it, if you opted out of Jeff's newsletter, you're never going to have that opportunity. All right? So I don't think Jeff will mind if you don't open them all. Just don't opt out of them once you made that commitment. All right? All right, guys. Let's see who we got here. All right. So, Jeff, you're still there. So let me bring you in because we got a good compliment here for you. You two are awesome. Do you think that whey peptides are better than leucine freeform? Like AST had a new product which breaks off the leucine from the whey. What do you think about that, Jeff?
Well, let me answer it this way. I think that great hydrolyzed whey isolate, I achieved and you achieved great things utilizing that, and especially in the pre-post workout bubble. There is some really cool science behind this new product they have, and it's the fact that it's very sciencey, but can help you produce more mTOR and help. I mean, I wish this product would have been available when I was competing, because I do think it's it's a step up. The science is very interesting. I think makes sense. But again, this starts to become one of these things where now we're splitting a little bit of hairs. I think you can do great with the nutrient timing with a great whey isolate product, like I did my whole career. But hey, I'll be honest with you, if I was at that level trying for every percent to be better, well, hell yes, I'd use this newer innovation, because I do believe the science makes sense. So I think you can do great with both. But if I was trying to get every little extra thing, I would utilize it. Awesome,
Jeff. All right, Jeff. So I always want to serve my guys who take action and ask that question. And you're the expert representing your company there. So I want to get you in there. All right, Jeff. Now I'm going to let you go. All right. Okay. All right, guys. Hey, thank you so much for taking the time again, whether you listen to this for 5 minutes, 50 minutes. Hey, why don't you tell me what you found most valuable about this time that we spent together, what you learned from Jeff. Send me an email at skip@skiplacour.com. Post it down below. Again, I appreciate you spending any time that you spent here together. Watch for these live broadcasts. I'm obsessed. I'm going to do everything I can to bring more information, inspiration. I want your life to be better any way I can. I want to bring you the highest quality people with the highest quality thoughts to give you the highest quality life. You want to live that highest quality life, make sure you go to 15manformationsteps.com, 15manformationsteps.com. Absolutely free. 18 modules dripped out to you over 18 days, whatever it is you want. It'll help you get clear, get focused, get results. It's absolutely free, instant access, lifetime access, and that's at 15manformationsteps.com. All right, guys, have a great day. Have an outstanding day. Have an awesome day.